afternoon here in the Pacific Northwest as we head down to the field. And Tony Saragusa.
Thanks, Kenny. You know, Darryl was absolutely right earlier. Seattle forgot to do the little things right last week. And they also forgot to do one big thing, and that's establish the run with the beast, Marshawn Lynch. He needs to carry the load early. They need to go and get this run going to set up Russell Wilson for exactly what that offense of the Seattle Seahawks wants to do, and that's run the play action. One thing also that Russell Wilson can do today to help his offensive line is the cadence. Work it. You can keep that Dallas Cowboy front seven off balance if you work the cadence.
All right, thanks, Goose. Russell Wilson and the Seahawks coming off their loss in Arizona last Sunday. A look at today's early scores. What a comeback by the New York Giants.
Yeah, New York Giants look like they could slip to 0-2 with 2 home game losses, but they've come back to take the lead over Tampa Bay. New Orleans struggling again. New England behind Arizona.
Buffalo coming off their loss to the Jets last week. Miami all over Oakland. We are set to go here in Seattle. Jason Garrett's Cowboys opening with 2 games on the road. 24-17 over the Giants. A week ago Wednesday, Cowboys playing for the first time in 11 days. Pete Carroll in his 3rd season with the Seahawks finished 7-9 each of his first 2 years. The Dallas Cowboys have won the toss. Stephen Hauschka will get things started. Felix Jones back deep. And we are underway before a raucous crowd here in Seattle. Taken at the 3 on the run by Jones. He loses the football, and it is recovered initially by the Seahawks. Earl Thomas. We'll see if Thomas maintains possession. He did.
One of the things when you play on the road with a hostile crowd, you've got to take them out of the game, silence them. This is about as bad a start as you could have for the Dallas Cowboys. Fumble on the opening kickoff. Now this crowd is energized. You've just amped them up a ton.
Touchdown by Michael Robinson. Earl Thomas on the recovery. So it's the Seahawks offense on the field first as they start from the Cowboys' 29-yard line. Goose talked about feeding the beast earlier. This is Marshawn Lynch. And he gains 4 down to the 25-yard line. Jason Hatcher made the tackle.
There's the offensive line right there. Dow, Russell Okung out. Frank Omiel is in. Guys, keep your eye on the middle of that offensive line. J.R. Sweezy, a young guy, struggled last week, but John Moffitt's in for him. Yeah,
the offensive line communication was really what impacted the production of the skill set right there that you saw. Russell Wilson had no time in the pocket.
So 2 starters on the offensive line for the Seahawks who did not start last week against the Cardinals. On 2nd down and 6, it is Lynch again. Push the pile down to the 22-yard line. Gain of 3, setting up 4th down and 3 for the Seahawks.
And this is the group that has really improved from 2011 to 2012. They've always been good up front. But when you look at the defense right now, the new additions, Sean Lee's back, Bruce Carter, the inside linebacker from North Carolina, great speed, great tackler. And here in the secondary, Brandon Carr, the big free agent signing, and Morris Claiborne, your #1 draft pick. That allows Rob Ryan a lot of flexibility with his defensive calls, those 2 corners on the outside.
3 tight ends in for Seattle. Empty backfield, they must get to the 19-yard line. As Wilson throws for the first time, and the catch is made for a 1st down. There is a flag. Sidney Rice on the reception. Donovan Briggins, our referee.
DeMarcus Ware seemed to be excited when he saw the flag, so potentially a hold or a hands to the face on Frank Omiel.
Looked like he left a little early from that offensive line. That DeMarcus Ware will do that to you, Darryl. He lines up in front of you, man. You want to get back as fast as you possibly can.
After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Defense, 92. 15-yard penalty will be enforced from the previous drive. Automatic first down.
Outside, the Cowboys, Josh Brent starting at nose tackle for the injured Jay Ratliff.
Well, we were way off on that one, Goose. That comes from inside.
And now Brent leaves the field. Officials will mark off the 15 yards.
So important to keep your composure. You started the game poorly with the turnoff on the opening kickoff. You can't do anything else to give Seattle the advantage. Now, that didn't result in a first down by penalty, but you gave them a lot more yardage with that call.
Rob Ryan, Cowboys defensive coordinator. First and goal for the Seahawks following the penalty from the 8. Marshawn Lynch. Michael Robinson, the fullback, in the backfield with Robinson leading the way. This is Lynch. Hard man to bring down. Lynch gains 3 to the Dallas 5-yard line.
That's that gang tackling that you got to go and do when you got Marshawn Lynch out there. If you try to go and arm tackle that guy or tackle him with one guy, he's going to get 2 or 3 extra yards because he never stops driving those legs, Darryl. Like you back in the day, right, brother?
A look at Russell Wilson's numbers in his first NFL start. The loss last week in Arizona. Second and goal from the 5. This is Lynch. And he takes it down inside the 3-yard line.
Very impressed with the offensive line of the Seattle Seahawks on this opening drive. They are completely in sync. They used this past week to get rid of the problems that they had against Arizona. Much different running the football than when you saw them on tape last week. And it's not just the addition of John Moffitt. There were mistakes across the board, so this group really did some hard work with Coach Cable to eliminate all those miscues.
Wilson drops back into the shotgun. Third and goal from the 3. Wilson working end zone. He throws. It's broken up. Nearly intercepted by Bruce Carter.
Well, when you have a young quarterback, you might have the opportunity to be able to read his eyes. We'll see if Bruce Carter kind of gets in that line of sight. He's watching Russell Wilson, watching him, just kind of mirroring his throwing angle, and almost comes up with the interception.
So here's Stephen Hauschka out to attempt a chip shot, a 21-yard field goal. 3 for 4 last week. Hauschka gives the Seahawks a 3-0 lead after the fumble by Felix Jones on the opening kickoff. Jason Garrett's Cowboys down by 3.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com.
Back in Seattle, early 3-0 lead for the Seahawks. There's Felix Jones, who had the ball knocked loose on the opening kickoff return. And the Seahawks with a short field, 7 plays, 26 yards, the 21-yard field goal by Hauschka.
That's always got to be in your head, huh, Darryl, when you fumble the opening kick, and now you got to go right back at it.
Don't do too much, though, Tony, right? Don't try and make up for that bad play by having another bad decision. So if it needs to stay in, stay in. If not, secure that ball and get going.
So here it is, another opportunity for Jones. And he is wrapped up back at the 15-yard line by Byron Maxwell. Our first look today at the Cowboys offense, led by the 3-time Pro Bowler Tony Romo.
Some people say that game last week against the New York Giants, one of his best regular season performances, and I would agree. Hostile environment, a lot on the line. You've got the losses, the 2 losses to the Giants late in the season last year. Very impressed with his poise and his decision-making in the opener.
DeMarcus DeMarco Murray in the backfield. On 1st and 10 from the 15-yard line, Romo swings it out to Murray. And he gains 3 out to the 18-yard line.
And again, we're going to focus on the offensive line here for the Dallas Cowboys. Only 3 practices together. Phil Costa goes out early in that game last week. Ryan Cook gets the start again, so not a lot of time with these guys. How do they perform against this big Seattle front? DeMarco Murray will be key, just like Marshawn Lynch will be key. Get that running game going, have some play action off it.
Second-year linebacker K.J. Wright is the injured Seahawk. So we'll take a break. 2nd and 7 when we return.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Bud Light, the official beer of NFL fans. Here we go.
2nd down and 7 for the Cowboys. Mike Morgan replaces the injured K.J. Wright for Seattle. Across the 20 to the 21-yard line. Red Bryant made the tackle.
Seattle's got a very underrated defensive front. A lot of big guys up there. Chris Clemens is going to be your pass rush specialist, but Brandon Mebane and Alan Branch, some big bodies. Red Bryant. K.J. Wright got hurt on that opening play, but this is a good linebacker group, and their secondary, these guys are huge. These guys are big guys. It's going to be fun to watch this. They're going to be very aggressive with their press coverage up front against this group of Dallas wide receivers.
On 3rd down and 5, Romo incomplete off the hands of Jason Witten. K.J. Wright back in the game on the coverage.
The interior of the Dallas line does a nice job. They get everybody pushed to the side. Tony Romo's got great vision down the field. He sees Jason Witten separate from K.J. Wright. Jason doesn't complete the play. Got to make that catch, move those chains.
Cowboys go 3 and out. Chris Jones did a terrific job against Seattle last year. And the punt is blocked. And it is walked in for a touchdown by Jerron Johnson.
Special teams. This is the 5th block punt so far this season in the NFL. Directionally kicking. You have to know when your punter is directionally kicking. If you're to that side, you've got to be much firmer. You can't give ground back.
Bruce Irvin the block. Jerron Johnson the touchdown. Special teams the story early. A fumble on the opening kickoff, and now a block punt. Return for a touchdown. The block by Irvin. 10-0 Seattle.
Today's game is sponsored by Lexus, introducing a stunning work of technology, the entirely new Lexus ES by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T Rethink Possible. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
What a start for the Seattle Seahawks on special teams.
Unbelievable, knocking the ball loose on the opening kickoff. Dallas's defense holds. They get a field goal from there, but again, that is the 5th block punt we've had so far in 2012. So special teams, that forgotten element of the dynamic of a football team, has been huge for the Seattle Seahawks this afternoon.
Third time Hauschka has kicked off in under 5 minutes, and this time Jones takes a knee, so the Cowboys will start from the 20.
Malcolm Smith, number 53, is going to block the punt, but I want you to watch Dan Connor right here. He's going to go sideways. He should be like an offensive tackle, come back off the ball, because look, Chris Jones is stepping that way. They are directionally kicking to the left, and as the guys up front in punt protection, you have to know that direction is coming, and you've got to be very, very firm with your blocking. It would be like a big offensive tackle and pass protection. Shuffle back, set your feet, and you cannot give any more ground.
Cowboys start from the 20-yard line. On first down, Romo's pass too far for Des Bryant.
You have to have all three phases contributing if you're going to win football games at the NFL level. And Seattle special teams has done a great job to start off their offense. Has taken one of those turnovers on that fumble on the opening kickoff to get 3 more points. Now it's the defense's turn again.
On second down, Cowboys keep it on the ground, and Mebane and Clemens able to bottle up Felix Jones.
Mebane did a great job right there, going and running down the line of scrimmage, staying up on his feet, playing that backside A-gap, and knowing when that cut was coming back. Perfect position. That's textbook for a defensive lineman right there.
Cowboys must get to the 30. Romo spins away from Clemens, fires downfield, and it's Kevin Ogletree, one of the heroes for the Cowboys against the Giants last week, makes the catch for a first down, a 26-yard connection.
I cannot tell you how good this is by Tony Romo. Feels that backside pressure, spins outside. Watch Ogletree crossing the field, and watch where this ball is thrown. Under duress, that ball is fit into a small window. There's the spin, eyes right downfield. Trust that your receiver is going to be in the spot that he's supposed to be in.
The first down for the Cowboys here in the first quarter. The end around to Ogletree, stunner step, and now he crosses midfield and is knocked out of bounds at the Seahawks 48 after picking up 5.
Well, Leroy Hill doesn't make the tackle, but he sure does do a heck of a job doing his job as contain man on the backside. Tony Romo coming out with the reverse right here, trying to look downfield to confuse the defense. There's Leroy Hill, 56. He stumbles a little bit, so he doesn't make the tackle, but he also forced Kevin Ogletree to break down, allowed his teammates the time to get back around the field on that end around.
Second and 5, this is Murray. And DeMarco Murray has another Cowboys first down to the Seahawks 40-yard line.
Well, you compliment a running back and you say that he runs physical and he finishes runs, but it means so much more when you hear it from the guys who actually have to play against DeMarco Murray. And both Cam Chancellor and Earl Thomas said he's one of the best they face, and they have to go against Steven Jackson twice a year, so that's a pretty nice compliment. Steven Jackson, one of the more physical runners in the NFL.
3 receivers set, new set of downs for the Cowboys. Romo directing traffic, moving to his right, and he throws, and Murray makes the catch, and he came down in bounds at the 33, gain of 7.
Tony Romo really took a gamble on that one because Murray was definitely covered right there. Does a nice job of getting his feet in, getting down, securing the ball. KJ Wright was right on top of him, and he makes the catch. One thing that really impressed me from down here, Dal, the speed of this Seattle defense. I mean, you want to talk about pursuing to the ball. These guys are unbelievable right now.
Play clock at 1. Cowboys get the snap off on second and 3. It's Murray has another Dallas first down to the Seattle 24. Time for a game break to Los Angeles. Here's Patrick O'Neal.
Miracle at the Meadowlands, part 2. Andre Brown, 2-yard touchdown. Bucks let him score, so they get an opportunity. Josh Freeman looking for Dallas Clark, going to get picked off by Michael Boley as the Giants outscore the Bucks 25-7 in the fourth quarter to win 41-34. Kenny, Moose, and Goose, what a game.
Incredible thanks, Patrick. Giants trail 27-13 late in the third quarter. Come back and win. Off the fake end around, Romo's pass could not be handled by Des Bryant.
You don't see that very much either. Des Bryant does a good job catching the football. His issue is just being in the location. Number 88 coming off the line. Let's see if he sneaks a peek before he's got this ball secure.
Looked like his eyes were on it the whole time. Just mishandled it.
It did, Tony.
Put off his face mask. Second and 10. Three receivers set. Alston in the slot. Romo fakes the throw. And then he is picked off. Brandon Browner. With Cam Chancellor leading the way, it's Murray who brings him down. Another Dallas turnover.
This is a cardinal sin for a quarterback. Scrambling to your right, throwing back across into the middle of the field. You watch Tony Romo as this breaks down, he's going to move to his right. If you want to find something to the right side, take a shot. But all that traffic in the middle of the field, you've got your receivers from the left side dragging their coverage into the middle of the field. You can't account for everybody. Brandon Browner covering Kevin Ogletree coming across from the left side is there to pick off the errant throw.
Second Cowboys turnover plus the block punt. Now remember, most turnovers are reviewed. Not sure what the discussion would be as far as the Browner pick. The gentleman you saw at the headset is in communication with the replay booth upstairs. So with 6:22 remaining in the first quarter, Seahawks already lead 10-0. Looking to capitalize on the second Cowboys turnover of this first quarter. Off the play fake. Wilson firing downfield for Golden Tate. And the pass broken up by Morris Claiborne. Wilson took a hard hit from DeMarcus Ware.
Not only the hard hit, but he impacted the throw. DeMarcus Ware is going to go to the inside against Franco. No, he's just going to drive him back and come outside. Arrives there, but gets a little bit of a deflection on that as Russell Wilson releases it.
DeMarcus Ware telling us yesterday, all he needs is 3 seconds. That's a half a second more than usually a play will go. Plays are usually 2.5 seconds to go and get to the quarterback or effect the throw right there.
Here's Lynch slowed up by Jason Hatcher and Goose. He said he had more time in the Giants game thanks to the huge upgrade at the quarterback position with the Cowboys bringing in Brandon Carr from Kansas City and the first-round pick, Morris Claiborne.
Yeah, that secondary can definitely help out those defensive linemen. Coverage is so important for a guy like that that only needs a little bit more time. I'll tell you what, he has a lot of tools in his toolbox. We just saw the bull rush on that pressure right there, but he has a lot of moves that he can go to.
19.5 sacks last season, 2 last week against the Giants. Movement prior to the snap.
False start. Offense number 67. 5-yard penalty. Third down.
Left guard Paul McQuiston. Brother Pat, a former Cowboy. As we mentioned, new starters today at left tackle and right guard. Obiel and Moffitt did not start last week. 17 different starting combinations since Pete Carroll's first season. Third down and 15. Wilson's pass is caught by the rookie out of Utah State, Robert Turbin. But he stopped about 5 yards shy of a first down, so the Seahawks will punt it away.
And I can't tell you how important that last graphic is. You saw 17 over the last 2 years, 2 different ones to start this season. When you look around the league and you see the teams that are playing well year to year, week to week, there's a lot of consistency in that starting 5 on the offensive line, and that has not been the case for the Seahawks.
John Ryan back to punt for the first time. Dwayne Harris back deep for the Cowboys. Harris lets it go, and it is down at the 5-yard line by Byron Maxwell. So the Cowboys pinned deep in their own territory. The block punt earlier. Seahawks lead by 10.
A score that I'm sure a lot of you are finding surprising after the way the Cowboys played against the Giants to open the season. But here are some of the miscues, and every game from week to week has its different challenges, and this crowd is going to be a big aspect during the course of the game today, and those miscues will make it even harder for this Cowboy team to change the momentum.
Cowboys' third possession. They start from their own 5 as Murray takes it up the middle for 2 yards out to the 7. So the Cowboys fumble the opening kickoff for the first time since December 3rd, 2000. First time they lose the ball on the opening kickoff due to a fumble. Then the block punt, return for a touchdown by Jerron Johnson. And then on the last Cowboys possession, the interception by Browner. Romo to throw on 2nd and 8. Big hit by Cam Chancellor on Miles Austin after a gain of just 2.
And this secondary is so big and so physical. Watch 31. There he is dropping down. He recognizes that flat pass on the fly, takes Miles Austin off his feet. Now, that's a safety, but when I played, that was an outside linebacker.
Maybe a defensive end.
He is a big guy.
6'3", 230 pounds, the starting strong safety, Cam Chancellor. Romo fires on 3rd and 6, and the catch is made by Witten for a Dallas first down. Jason Witten, who was not expected to play by most in the opening game against the Giants following the lacerated spleen. Witten gained 17.
And this is just such, you know you're going to get hit. You know Cam Chancellor's out there, he's coming in, and a good job by Cam Chancellor delivering a big physical hit within the confines of the rules the way they are today.
From the 26, off the play fake. Romo spins away from Red Bryant, and now he fires downfield for Witten, and Witten unable to make the catch. K.J. Wright on the coverage for Seattle.
Well, we got to get the Seattle defense to understand. Watch Red Bryant come to the outside. You've got to keep Tony Romo on your inside shoulder. That's the second time he's been able to spin out to his left. This time he's going to go all the way across the field. Jason Witten has a step on K.J. Wright. I don't know if it got lost in the sun. K.J. Wright did a good job getting his hand up right as the ball came in.
2nd and 10, the toss to Murray, with the fullback Vickers leading the way. And Murray takes it out across the 30 to the 31-yard line for a gain of 4.
Such a good feel between Jason Witten and Tony Romo. He's going in motion to the opposite side, so as the play breaks down, he has to go to his left. Turns the ball, or turns up the field right there. Good hustle by K.J. Wright, was trailing there, but That's a heck of an athletic play. Not even being able to turn back to the ball, but affecting the ball right at the point of the catch on Jason Witten.
4th down and 6. And the catch is made out at the 38-yard line for a first down by John Phillips, with Witten on the sidelines. A gain of 8 for the backup tight end. So the Cowboys move the chains.
That defensive line for Seattle's doing a good job of putting pressure on Tony Romo. Tony Romo just has a really good feel, and Dow, you pointed this out, of where those defensive linemen are and being able to roll out and gain extra time for his receivers, which is going to make him more successful, giving those receivers a little bit of extra time.
Under a minute remaining, first quarter from the 39. Romo swings it out on first down, too far for Felix Jones. Another game break. Here's Patrick.
Michael Vick breaking the hearts last week of Browns fans, and now it's the Ravens. 1-yard touchdown run, putting the Eagles up on the Ravens. Now 4th down for Flacco. Could not complete that pass. Philadelphia hangs on to win 24-23. What a Sunday we have, Kenny Moose and Goose.
And Patrick, for the Eagles, their second straight win by 1 point.
I tell you, it's like nothing carried over from last week to this week, the way these games are coming in from earlier today.
Romo is not ready for the snap. And when you think about snaps and Tony Romo in this stadium, last time the Cowboys were here in Seattle, playoff game, Bill Parcells' final game as a head coach, the botched snap, and he was not ready for this one.
Well, I think more than that, you've got Ryan Cook, who's new at the position, just came in, got thrown into the lineup early in that game last week against the Giants, but there's still not going to be that chemistry, and Tony Romo is very good at the line of scrimmage, changing the play, getting them into a play that he feels is going to be better. It will take him and Ryan Cook time to get those dynamics together. They were not in sync on that last one.
Cook acquired from the Dolphins just over 2 weeks ago. Romo on 3rd and 13. Wide open, Miles Austin for a Cowboys first down in Seahawks territory. Austin gained 17. So the Cowboys on the move following a mistake-filled first quarter by Dallas. Seahawks in their home opener, leading the Cowboys 10-0. Back in Seattle, the Seahawks have run only 9 plays on offense. They have 10 points thanks to their special teams.
Well, when you don't even have to come on the field to get 7 points, that'll help that stat.
1st and 10 for the Cowboys from the Seattle 47. As Murray works his way down to the 45-yard line for a gain of 2. Brandon Mebane made the tackle.
Talk about big differences from week to week, Darryl. You mentioned in the open about Seattle and them not doing the little things right last week. Now all of a sudden Dallas comes up here to Seattle and they're not doing the little things right. Complete reversal here.
Yeah, you see that stats just came up. 2 turnovers. They average starting field position. That's the big one. And Seattle is taking advantage of some mistakes by the Dallas Cowboys and special teams, putting them in great field position, and then just going for 7 points on their own with that recovery of the block punt.
11th play of the drive for the Cowboys. Romo in time on second down, fires, and it is off the fingertips of Witten. He was wide open.
Jason Witten has had 3 critical plays today. We've got this one here, which is going to be a big game. We've got the scramble throw on the other one. And remember, right before that block punt, Jason Witten had a chance to make a catch for a first down and move the chains. So uncharacteristic.
He's stuck on 699 career receptions. Only 2 tight ends have reached 700.
He should be at least at 701 right now.
Absolutely. 3rd down and 8. Cowboys must get to the 37 for a first down. This is Felix Jones, and he looks to have the first.
Good quick decision by Felix Jones because he's got KJ Wright very close in coverage. He catches the ball and just turns and get north and south right away.
Marco Murray back in. New set of downs for Jason Garrett's Cowboys. first down. Cowboys set up the screen to Murray. Inside the 30 to the 28. Before he is brought down after a gain of 7.
Good hustle by Clinton McDonald, because this looked like it was going to be a very effective screen. Had a lot of blockers out front, and Clinton McDonald recognized it, hustled down the line. These are big bodies up front for the Seattle Seahawks. You think of them as run stuffers, but that's good hustle down the line of scrimmage to stop a screenplay that looked like it was going to go for some big yards.
Second down and 3. Here's Murray. And Murray has another Cowboys first down. 3 NFC East teams won a week ago. Cowboys know that the Giants and Eagles have already won their games today. And the Cowboys trail 10-0 despite running 26 plays to the Seahawks 9.
I'll tell you what, that's not good for a defense. In Seattle, they live or die by running to the ball and trying to make big plays and using their speed. If they keep this up, they're going to be worn down there in that fourth quarter.
Romo to the outside, and the catch is made, and then diving in for a touchdown is Miles Austin.
Miles Austin down here on this side. Double move, hitch and go. Great play call inside the red zone by the Dallas Cowboys. This is a very aggressive, very physical secondary for the Seattle Seahawks, and they do the hitch and go on Brandon Browner.
And you got to see Tony Romo with the pressure right in his face, getting that ball off. Great job by him.
Now remember, it was ruled a touchdown on the field. All scoring plays are automatically reviewed. Bit of a delay as they take a look. Touchdown has been confirmed. Dan Bailey for the point after. Cowboys drive 15 plays, 95 yards here in Seattle. They pull to within 3. Tony Romo 7 for 10 on that drive, and pretty impressive names on this list, Darrell, as he ties Roger Staubach for 3rd place on the Cowboys all-time list. Touchdown passes thrown.
Yeah, Roger Staubach's in the clubhouse right now, so he still gets top billing at 153. We visited with Danny White pre-game, only 2 away from surpassing or tying Danny White, and then Troy Aikman, the franchise leader, within sight.
Now we know where Troy was today.
Short kick today.
Here's Leon Washington. Troy Aikman was at the Meadowlands calling the Giants and the Bucks. Leon Washington out to the 26. Some extracurricular activity. Second touchdown of the season for Miles Austin. 10-7 Seattle.
On Fox is sponsored by Chevrolet. From kickoff to the last yard, Chevy runs deep. By Burger King and our delicious new line of salad wraps. And by Taken 2, starring Liam Neeson. The man with a particular set of skills is back.
We received quite an education from Goose during the weekend here in Seattle on the subject of voting.
I think the only thing he knows a little bit less than football is voting.
Well, we all have hobbies, right?
Darrell Bevel, the offensive coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks. This is an important drive right here. Special teams has been huge for Seattle, but that was a great response by the Dallas Cowboys. Russell Wilson and this offense need to put something together here on this possession.
Only the 10th play run by the Seahawks offense, and Wilson's pass intended for the tight end, Evan Moore.
And when you throw the ball too high to Evan Moore, you've thrown the ball too high. And this is a big target coming out of your tight end spot. Good play action, gets the linebackers to bite up.
So a 5'11" quarterback throwing to a 6'6" tight end.
This offense also needs to get to put, a few plays together to give that defense sort of a rest, man. Those guys are on the sideline right now, drinking a lot of water and sucking up a lot of oxygen.
They were just on the field for 15 plays, Goose. Wilson on 2nd and 10. Got catch is made by Anthony McCoy. Danny McCray the tackle as we head to Los Angeles and Patrick O'Neill.
Well, we're going to show you the first rushing touchdown in the career of Robert Griffin III. A lot of griffining going on everywhere except Dallas. Washington up on St. Louis 14-3. Penny, Moose, and Goose.
Thanks, Patrick. Our crew had the chance to work the spectacular professional debut of RG3 last week in New Orleans.
He was fantastic with his decision-making. You know, didn't run the ball. He got away, extended plays, but he was always looking down the field. I thought his decision-making was excellent last week.
Here's Russell Wilson, one of the 5 rookie quarterbacks who started last week. Wilson reaches out, needed to get to the 36 for a first down, but he did not. So the Seahawks forced a punt.
Really no other choice for Russell Wilson on that play. Dallas had pressure. He had to step up and thought maybe he could get there on his feet, but protection broke down.
That Seattle defense is not happy right now, I can tell you that.
They've got to be tired, Tony. That was a 3 and out.
Man.
Don Ryan, second punt. End over end, angled towards the sideline. Bryant scoops it up and then steps out at the 15-yard line. When we return, Tony Romo and the Dallas Cowboys offense. Dallas Cowboys drove 95 yards on their last possession. Start from the 14-yard line as Romo hands it off to Murray. Red Bryant along with Brandon Mebane in on the tackle, gain of just 1.
Red Bryant's one of those defensive linemen for the Seattle Seahawks. You're not going to hear a lot about him across the country, but I tell you what, he's a heck of a football player. He and Brandon Mebane together, 2 of the better defensive linemen, in my opinion, in the NFL.
Seahawks defense under Gus Bradley ranked 9th in the league a season ago. Romo on second down, and this time Witten able to make the catch for the 700th reception of his career.
A lot of pressure on Tony Romo right here, right in his face. Watch this. Offensive line does a good job, but one guy gets in right there.
And they know which guy it's going to be. Yeah, Goose. They know it's going to be. It's going to be Clemens, Chris Clemens, or Bruce Irvin. Those are the 2 pass rushers you have to worry about. Nice spin move by Chris Clemens coming back inside on Doug Free.
Witten gained 7, now 3rd down and 3. Play clock at 1. And Romo's pass could not be handled by Bryant. So the Cowboys go 3 and out.
Earl Thomas is all over the field, Dow.
His range is amazing. It's one of the reasons they're able to play so much cover 3. You can see the instincts, the jump on the ball he gets. He sees Des Bryant coming in on that in route. Nice angle for the collision to separate that ball.
He does a nice job with his hands also, going and punching the ball, lowering the arm down and getting the ball out.
Nearly another block punt, fielded at the 35 by Washington. Breaks away from the first tackler. Leon Washington returns it out to the 41. Terrific field position once again for the Seattle Seahawks. Thanks to the return of Washington, Seahawks lead by 3.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Chevrolet. From kickoff to the last yard, Chevy runs deep.
Back in Seattle, Kenny Albert, Darryl Johnston, Tony Siragusa. John Moffitt started at right guard for the Seahawks. Has been replaced by J.R. Sweezy, the rookie out of North Carolina State, who started the game last week.
And was a defensive tackle coming into training camp, so absolutely unbelievable that he was able to get to the point where he could be the starting right guard last week in the opener in just 5 weeks.
Well, the 7th round pick, Sweezy in the game. As the Seahawks start from the 41-yard line. Lynch gains a couple out to the 43.
Well, they run right behind him on that last play. You know, Darryl, you talked about the little things last week and the communication in the middle of that offensive line, and Sweezy was one of the main guys that I think was the problem last week.
Now, he struggled a little bit there, but you see right there, I mean, I played defensive tackle at NC State. It's not the mentality. He's an aggressive, tough kid. It's just that knowledge of the offensive style of football.
Not easy.
Here's Wentz running right. Once again, takes it out to midfield. And Sweezy had not played offense since the 8th grade. And Goose, you were telling us the other day that a coach once approached you about switching to the offensive side.
Yeah, when I was at the University of Pittsburgh, an offensive line coach, great man, Joe Moore, actually wanted me to move over, and I went up to Joe and I said, Joe, listen, I'm not going to move over. I like being the hammer. I don't like being the nail. So I decided not to make that switch. I'll tell you what, Sweezy's doing a pretty good job in there, and our defensive linemen are athletic, so they can adjust.
On 3rd and 1, it's the fullback, Michael Robinson, on the inside handoff, and Robinson picks up a Seahawks first down.
You know that, Darryl. Most of the offensive linemen who have that defensive nastiness about them are probably the best ones in the league, correct?
I just don't know where the whole thought process that offensive guys aren't physical came from, so I'm not even going to make a comment on that.
No, but it's like, you know, you got to be a little bit less
don't even get started.
aggressive.
Kevin Gogan wasn't a nasty offensive guy.
Well, that he should have been a defensive lineman.
Off the fake to Turbin. Wilson fires downfield and has his man Golden Tate for a Seahawks first down at the Cowboys 26. A 20-yard pass play.
If you give him the time in the pocket, he's going to be able to find who's open based on the defense. Look at the time that Russell Wilson has on that throw. It's on time, on target to Golden Tate on the outside.
Tate missed last week's game with a knee injury. Seahawks happy to have him back. 3 tight ends in the game. 1st and 10 from the Cowboys 26. Off the fake to Turbin. Wilson moving to his right. And this is the tight end, Anthony McCoy. Takes it down to the 22-yard line, gain of 4.
I like the poise on that one by Russell Wilson because he came out, he looked at Anthony McCoy early and then wanted to see if something was going to open up deeper down the field, and then came back to him at the end to get some positive yards.
We approach 6 minutes remaining, 2nd quarter. Special teams, the story for the Seahawks early. They lead the Cowboys 10-7. On 2nd and 6, penalty markers as Lynch gains a yard down to the 21. Marcus Ware looked to be a bit anxious.
Using that cadence that Tony talked about at the beginning. And I know that Tony was impressed for a young quarterback to know the importance of snap count and cadence in his rookie season. I don't understand the huddle right here.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Offside, defense number 94. By rule, that penalty is declined. We have a 5 and 15 enforcement. Personal foul, chop block, offense, number 64. 15-yard penalty will be enforced from the previous block. 2nd down.
Well, J.R. Sweezy, being a defensive lineman, should know the chop block is not allowed anymore. Let's take a look at it right here. There he is at the guard position. And when you're engaged, you cannot go at the person's knees. And that's a safety, issue that was brought up back when me and Darryl were playing. And if he's not engaged, you can go down low. But if he is engaged with another player, you have to stay high.
No, Tony, I disagree. That was an adjacent lineman on the backside, sent it a guard. That is a legal play. It's not morally acceptable by a defensive lineman. But I disagree. Adjacent lineman backside on a running play can post and chop.
Now here's Wilson on 2nd and 21, and a diving catch is made by Sidney Rice for a gain of 18.
A running back cannot be involved with it at any time. Now, if they were non-adjacent, if it was the tackle coming all the way down to get into a chop with the center, that is illegal on the backside. But a center guard, that's legal, Tony, and we saw it last year. Baltimore was doing it a lot in the beginning of the season. There was a lot of discussion about it. Is it fair? Maybe not fair, but it's legal by rule.
Empty backfield now for the Seahawks on 3rd down and 3 as Wilson throws, and it's a Seattle first down to the tight end, Zach Miller.
This is a nice job by Seattle overcoming that call, because it should have been the 5-yard offsides on DeMarcus Ware at that point. It's the 5-15 as they explained to you, but it was not a 15 on that play. They got the penalty yards. They've been able to overcome that and put themselves in a position where they converted.
So a new set of downs for the Seahawks. Wilson perfect on this drive. 3 tight ends on the field. 1st and 10 from the Cowboys 12. The handoff to Marshawn Lynch. Tries to cut it to the outside, but he is forced back by Bruce Carter.
You know what, Darryl? Hopefully we can go get Mike Pereira back in L.A. and go and straighten this out, because my interpretation, your interpretation, I think are completely different. We will see.
Hard to get Mike Pereira on camera. I don't know if he's going to want to join us.
Yeah, he's probably putting his vest on. But I think the studios there.
It's on a long day already.
Yeah, tough.
More flags.
False start. Offense number 68. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
That's on the right tackle, Breno Giacomini. So the Seahawks forced back to the 19-yard line. They lead the Cowboys 10-7, 3.5 remaining 2nd quarter here in Seattle.
One thing that just will totally disrupt an offense, when you get into the red zone, are negative plays. We had the tackle for a loss by Bruce Carter, and now we've got the penalty there on the false start.
2nd down and 17. Wilson with time, complete to Sidney Rice. And Rice is knocked out of bounds inside the 10-yard line.
Great job by Robert Turbin on the block. It was a really nice job right here. Watch Robert Turbin come in after the throw, the catch and run. Look at that block right there. Wow, is that a nice block.
On DeMarcus Ware.
Yeah, DeMarcus Ware, who surprisingly is out in the flat.
So now 3rd down and 8.
Evan Moore right here, big body in the red zone.
Wilson take too much time.
Delay a game. Offense number 3. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Seen several negative plays here by the Seahawks once they've gotten into the red zone.
Well, you made a great point, Darryl, in the open. You know, the little things are things that this team has to take care of. And they didn't last week, and they did in the 1st quarter here, but in the 2nd quarter, it looks like some of them are starting to leak through.
3rd penalty of this drive. 3rd down and 13. Wilson's pass is caught by Baldwin. And Doug Baldwin, Seahawks leading receiver a year ago, is down at the 7. So the Seahawks will send out the field goal unit, but first, the 2-minute warning.
That's a nice drive by the Seattle offense. There's your defense right there. 10 plays, a little bit over 7 minutes. Those guys finally get a chance to rest. They were on the field a bunch before that drive.
A lot happier bunch.
But the Seahawks forced back 3 times due to penalty. Unable to reach the end zone, so Stephen Hauschka, who connected from 21 yards out earlier, will attempt a 25-yard field goal from the right hash. John Ryan places it down. Hauschka is 2 for 2. So with just under 2 minutes remaining in the second quarter, Seahawks lead by 6. Back in Seattle, Seahawks lead the Cowboys 13-7. Coming up on the Visa Halftime Report with Kurt, Terry, Howie, Michael, and Jimmy. Brady and the Patriots fall short at home, and the New Orleans Saints, without head coach Sean Payton, dropped to 0-2. Scores, highlights, plus much more coming up on the Visa Halftime Report.
Well, when Steve Spagnuolo went to the New York Giants and implemented that defense, they gave up 80 points the first 2 weeks to Dallas and Green Bay, and this time down in New Orleans, he's given up 75 to Washington and Carolina.
Oh, and by the way, the Giants won the Super Bowl that season, back in 07. Felix Jones on the return. Brings it out to the 15-yard line as we welcome you into the broadcast booth. It was Felix Jones who had the ball knocked loose on the opening kickoff. Seahawks scored 3 and then a block punt, so special teams the story early.
Yeah, you know, but I like the response of both teams back and forth, and Jason Garrett preached to the Dallas Cowboys about demeanor. We're going to go out there. It's going to be a hostile environment. Some things may go against us. Hang in there and just keep plugging away. And then the response by Seattle on that last drive. It looked as though maybe the momentum had shifted to Dallas. Russell Wilson puts a good drive together. They get 3 points. But more importantly, they gave this defense a little bit of a rest.
Romo from the 15. DeMarco Murray, first down. Cowboys out to the 30, gain of 15. Cowboys, as you see on our Fox box, upper left-hand corner, have all 3 timeouts remaining. From the 30, Romo with time on first down, and this pass is behind the intended receiver, Des Bryant. As we head to Los Angeles for a game break, Patrick O'Neill.
All right, Kenny, well, in a game that has seen some replacement official controversy, the only thing to review here is that RG3 is the real deal. Leonard Hankerson, first career touchdown reception, goes for 68. Washington in St. Louis up 21-6. Kenny, Darryl, and Moose.
RG3 with an 88-yard touchdown pass last week, and now he gets Leonard Hankerson for a 68-yard score.
He's off to an impressive start in his rookie season here in the NFL.
Romo from the shotgun on second down, and this pass is behind Jason Witten.
Out of sync right there is something you don't see between Tony Romo and Jason Witten. This is what we call a pump move, so you're going to run the out and then turn it up the field. Looked like Tony Romo expected him to stay on that out cut.
Jason Jones, also defensive end, lined up over the center. A lot of pressure right up in Tony Romo's face on that last play. And he's lining up in the same place he did last time. Keep an eye on him right in the middle of the field.
Number 90. Romo on 3rd and 10, complete to Witten for a first down and more. Witten finally forced out of bounds in Seahawks territory at the Seattle 47, a 23-yard catch and run.
It's a nice job by Tony Romo finding the matchup they want. Jason Witten, Cam Chancellor one-on-one. And it's just a poor angle by Cam Chancellor on that. He was moving up. He saw the play develop in front of him, but the angle allowed Jason Witten to get to the outside.
Jason Witten, who earlier joined Tony Gonzalez and Shannon Sharp as the only tight ends with 700 career receptions. From the 47 on first down. That pass also intended for Witten. Clock stops with a minute 10 remaining.
Seattle bringing the pressure on that one. 5 guys. Trufant coming out from the right side. One of the guys got a little piece of Tony Romo's ball right there.
Might have been a good thing. Leroy Hill might still be running down towards the end zone.
Could have been a pick 6.
There's an injury on the play to a Seattle player. By rule, Seattle will be charged with a timeout, their first charged timeout.
That is Jerron Johnson, who scored the first touchdown of the game on the blocked punt return. The new AP rankings are out, and this Saturday college football returns to Fox. First, Aaron Andrews, Eddie George, and Joey Harrington get you ready for kickoff with the Fox College Saturday pregame show. Then two unbeaten teams clash. 15th ranked Kansas State and 6th ranked Oklahoma in the Big 12 opener for both teams. Coverage of Fox College football begins Saturday at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. How about Stanford with the big win over USC on Fox last night?
I was just thinking the same thing, Kenny. Going to be tough to top that Stanford-USC game from Saturday.
Seahawks charged with a timeout on the injury in the final 2 minutes of the half as the catch is made by Miles Austin at the Seahawks 39. Controversy last week when the Seahawks were not charged with a timeout on an injury in the final 2 minutes of the game against Arizona. Officials get it right today. 3rd down and 3. Romo's pass was deflected, and it hits the turf as players from both sides had a shot at it.
Talk about a jump ball situation. Miles Austin's the only one down there in a bunch of Seattle Seahawk players. He and Earl Thomas going up to try and get it.
And a good job by Richard Sherman to lock up Miles Austin. So with 44 seconds remaining, Jones will punt it away. Leon Washington deep for the Seahawks. Angled towards the sideline. Out of bounds inside the 10.
Well, Dallas has controlled the flow most of this first half here, but it's been their mistakes. And the Seattle Seahawks taking advantage of them. The opening kickoff, the ball knocked loose from Felix Jones. Earl Thomas on the recovery. Then Malcolm Smith with the block punt. Jerron Johnson there to scoop it up. And it's interception by Brandon Browner.
Cowboys did drive 95 yards for a touchdown. A trail 13-7. 35 seconds remaining in the half. From the 9-yard line, this is Washington. Takes it out to the 12 for a gain of 3. And a timeout is taken by the Cowboys. Their first. With 31 seconds on the clock. Well, Fox tomorrow. Fox presents a gripping new series critics call a mix of ER and 24. See why this isn't your regular medical drama. Dr. Grace Devlin is devoted to medicine, but indebted to the mob. Don't miss the new series, The Mob Doctor, premiering tomorrow at 9, 8 Central, right here on Fox.
Anything that's got a combination of 24, and I'm going to have to take a look at that.
Absolutely.
I missed that show.
Me too.
Each team with 2 timeouts remaining. 31 seconds to go, second quarter.
Blue lady! Blue lady,
On second down and 7, Seahawks keep it on the ground as Lynch takes it out to the 17-yard line, and the Cowboys will use their second timeout. So 3rd down and 2 coming up for Seattle. Once again, a game break with Patrick.
All right, Kenny, so the Rams look to answer back to RG3's big touchdown. It's Sam Bradford hitting Danny Amendola. Amendola making up for an earlier fumble. It's now 21-13, under 2 minutes until half, guys.
All right, thanks, Patrick. The Redskins and the Cowboys, the only teams among the 32 NFL clubs who started with 2 games on the road to start the season.
That's a tough challenge. We had to do it a few times back in Dallas, and you know you're well aware of that as you go through training camp. But that's a lot to ask. You know that it's going to pay off for you at some point during the season because you're going to get a nice stretch of home games. But tough way to start, and they both handled it well.
Both teams winning on the road last week. And how about DeMarcus Ware getting into the backfield to wrap up Lynch, and Rob Ryan's defense able to hold. Cowboys use their third and final timeout.
Shows you the importance of being effective in managing your timeouts during the course of the half. Dallas is able to stop this clock and force a punt right here. Obviously, you're going to guard against the block punt, as DeMarcus Ware plays that very well. We talk about him as a pass rusher, but he's also very good against the run, but creates an opportunity for some interesting things here for the Dallas Cowboys.
That drive started with 35 seconds on the clock, so thanks to the Cowboys' 3 timeouts, Seahawks able to use only 15 seconds, and Cowboys will get the ball back.
They'll try the free kick option. If Des Bryant calls for a fair catch here, you get an unabated free kick.
Bryant loses the football and then able to scoop it back up. So that is not what he had in mind. That play took 10 seconds. The punt, the bobble, and the scoop.
Didn't look like he took his eyes off again. We saw Des earlier in the first half with a pass that he dropped, and you know, it seems like he's got it secure, and as he goes to move, he doesn't have it completely there and puts it on the ground.
Again, another miscue on special teams for the Cowboys, but Bryant able to recover. Romo takes a knee. And the first half comes to an end here in Seattle with the Seahawks leading the Cowboys 13-7. Time now for the Visa halftime report. We send you to Los Angeles and Kurt Menefee. Kurt. Follow your favorite team all season long. Go to iTunes.com/NFL. 13-7 lead for the Seahawks. Special teams, the story early. Cowboys fumble the opening kickoff, then have a punt block. Return for a touchdown moments later. Seahawks get the ball first. Darryl, what do you look for from the Seattle offense?
Well, at the top of the game, we talked about the attention to detail for the little things for the Seattle Seahawks, and I felt they did that in the first half. You know, a couple penalty issues that they need to get cleaned up. Good in the turnover, but the one thing we also talked about was making plays, whether it's a block, a throw, a catch when it needs to be made. That's what they have to start doing here in the second half. They had a good drive coming into that 2-minute warning area to get some points and get some momentum back. They get the ball here to start off. I think this is a very, very important drive to start the second half, to kind of erase the thought process. The only reason this game is close is because Dallas is making mistakes.
Leon Washington will not bring it out, so the Seahawks will start at their own 20-yard line as we check out the first half numbers.
Well, you're going to see how Dallas kind of controlled the play in that first half, over 200 yards in total yards. The points off miscues, very opportunistic for the Seattle Seahawks. The turnovers, obviously, but they've got to come out here and put a nice drive together. And, you know, we talked about the attention to detail with the penalties and all the different aspects, the offensive line communication, the things that were missing last week. They did a good job in the first half in those areas. But now, let's start making some plays. Let's show what this offense can do.
Russell Wilson, 9 of 12 for 85 yards. Marshawn Lynch, only 22 yards on the ground in the first half. On 10 carries. This is Lynch, comes to the outside. Picks up a first down and more. His longest run in the first half was only 7 yards, and Lynch on the first play from scrimmage here in the second half gains 16. And a big first down run by Lynch.
Well, look at Danny McCray, number 40. He drops back inside. Marshawn Lynch is one of those guys that if you have contained and you're supposed to be on the outside, you cannot dip underneath and start peeking around in there, because he can extend plays. His feet are always moving. He breaks tackles. And then at the end of this run right here, DeMarcus Ware is going to get hit by J.R. Sweezy. Now, J.R. Sweezy may have been a wrestling champ, but DeMarcus Ware took him down and put him on his back.
Here's Lynch again on first down after the 38. Gain of 2 as we head downstairs to Goose.
Thanks, Kenny. You know, you got a gang tackle out there. That's exactly what Dallas has to do. Talk to Jason Garrett, and he said, Goose, pretty much in every category, and we saw the statistics, we put them up there earlier, we're beating them by 2. We're up double, except for the 2 big ones. We need points, and we can't give them easy points, and the turnover thing. They're the 2 things that I'm going to talk about at halftime that I got to get through to our team. And also, catching the ball. When we have opportunities, we need to make them big plays. We saw Jason Witten drop a couple balls. That's something that they can't afford to do against a team like this.
Anthony Spencer brings down Wilson back at the 32-yard line for a loss of 7.
Yeah, but this again, he comes scot-free, and that's the scary part. When nobody is there to pick him up, and I don't think you turn that guy loose in that situation unless there was a breakdown in offensive line communication.
That's the toughest thing for a defensive lineman sometimes when they're not blocked. You know, you go and attack the upfield shoulder. We saw a lot of these quarterbacks going and scrambling out, and you come scot-free. That's when you whiff a lot of times. It was nice that he went and solidified that down.
First sack of the game on either side. And now on 4th and 15, a diving attempt, 1 ahead on Sidney Rice, who was helped up by Anthony Spencer.
You got 3 people converging on the ball at the same time. Orlando Scandrick, there's Sidney Rice, and in comes Anthony Spencer. Boy.
Wow, that was a hit right there. Surprised Sidney Rice got up from that one.
Great to see him get up immediately.
Absolutely.
As John Ryan will punt it away. There's Bryant back deep for the Cowboys. What a kick. A little too much on it. Bounces into the end zone. 68 yards, but a net of 48.
Airs online only at Southwest.com. By the all-new Dodge Dart. Dodge. New rules. And by the Samsung Galaxy S3. The next big thing is here.
All the fish you can eat here in Seattle. Seahawks lead the Cowboys 13-7. First offensive series of the second half for Dallas. Romo 14 of 26, 170 yards in the first half.
A lot of drops, though, on that record.
Hand off to Murray on first down, and he is bottled up to Marco Murray. He carries 36 yards in the first half, an average of 4.5 per carry.
Yeah, just keep feeding him the ball. He's a great compliment. Makes you play this game honestly. I mean, everything is going to be tough, but we remember that opening game. All of a sudden, it looks like the Giants have him in the backfield. He breaks a couple of tackles and goes 48 yards. So just keep feeding him the ball.
He had a big game against the Seahawks last year in a Cowboys victory, 186 total yards. 3 receiver set on 2nd and 10 as Romo spins away and then throws, and the catch is made by Witten, who took a hard hit at the end of the play, picks up 11, and a Cowboys first down. A hit laid on Jason Witten by Brandon Browner.
Well, Tony just talked about this. You know, a free rusher to the quarterback. Tony spins outside, and you know, I need to compliment the guys today in the secondary. That's another hit within the confines of the rule. Brandon Browner, you know, he stayed away from the helmet. Jason Witten's a defenseless player at that position. We're seeing some big physical hits being delivered by the players in the secondary within the confines of the rules.
Romo on first down, can't find anyone directing traffic. Now he throws. The pass is short, and it was nearly intercepted by Richard Sherman.
Well, Dallas got a couple breaks on that one, holding on those defensive linemen, but Tony Romo does a great job of getting the ball out. Right up the middle, that offense line is the holding right there that I saw. Kenzie. His eyes are always downfield, though, huh, Darryl?
Yeah, but remember the guys talked about it. You know, it kind of turns into man-to-man coverage. You're going to plaster the guys. That's good coverage by Seattle secondary. As Tony extended that play for a couple extra seconds.
On 2nd and 10, complete to Des Bryant. And Bryant loses the football. is recovered by the right tackle, Doug Free.
That's a great hustle play by Doug Free. On the offensive line, sees the ball thrown downfield, runs downfield, he's around the ball. Watch Des Bryant right here. He backs up, the ball's out right there, and watch Doug Free come in, boom. He's hustling to the play. That's something a coach can't coach. You got to either do that or not do that. That's a tremendous job by Doug Free coming back and getting that ball back for his team.
Ball was knocked loose by Browner, recovered by Free. 3rd down and 8 Dallas. Romo to Bryant. But a terrific tackle is made by Cam Chancellor to keep Des Bryant from picking up 1st down yardage.
The closing speed of the guys in the Seattle secondary is very impressive. I mean, it looks like the Dallas wide receivers are going to have opportunities to run after the catch, but God, the angles they take, the closing speed, they just shut everything down.
They are the tallest starting secondary in the league. They're the youngest, and 3 of them went to the Pro Bowl last year. Again, Jones angles the punt away from Leon Washington. Out of bounds at the 10. When we return, Marshawn Lynch and the Seahawks offense. Seattle leading by 6.
Pete Carroll's been working the officiating crew about the spot on this punt, and I'm going to have to agree with him. It went out of bounds around the 7-yard line, but it was about 5 yards, 6 yards out of bounds. You can see where it lands right there. So we're way out here. Now we're going to walk up and we're going to mark this. We're only going to get to the 10. Leon Washington stopped dead in his tracks and came back and said, it's further up than that.
Here's Lynch. You don't think the side judge, Paul Caldera, was wishing Pete a happy birthday? He turned 61 yesterday.
And you missed an opportunity to be the first one to wish him a happy birthday on Friday. Could have given him an early one.
It was too early. 3rd oldest, believe it or not, head coach in the National Football League. Only Tom Coughlin and Romeo Crennel are older than Pete Carroll.
You wouldn't know it being around him.
Nope. A lot of energy in that man.
Side. We're waiting.
Second down and 8. Off the play fake to Lynch. Wilson throws and the catch is made. And Golden Tate picks up the Seahawks 1st down. Gain of 10 on the play.
Just one play at a time. Golden Tate coming across a lot of traffic to find his way through.
John Moffitt, who started the game, back in at right guard this series for Seattle. From the 22, play action once again. Wilson moving to his left. And Wilson slides out to the 30-yard line. He gains 8.
Let's go back and take a look at the options that Russell Wilson had. Some pretty good coverage. Sidney Rice kind of coming free in the middle of the field, but it looked like his focus was out more towards the left.
Russell Wilson does a nice job of seeing where DeMarco Ware was. DeMarco Ware decided to take an inside lane and knew that he had an escape to his left-hand side.
Second down and 2. Robert Turbin in the backfield takes the handoff from Wilson. And Turbin picks up the Seahawks 1st down out to the 36-yard line. Gain of 6 for the rookie out of Utah State. Take the handoff from rookie quarterback Russell Wilson, who told us he knew at a very young age, around the age of 10, that he wanted to be an NFL quarterback.
Well, when you wake up at 5:45 in the morning with your dad and your brother and you practice speed outs, you're committed. You're all in. And
I think every kid at the age 10 wants to be in the NFL, Kenny.
But are they willing to get up at 5:45 and throw speed outs?
No, they aren't. That's the difference.
Number 35, here's Turbin again. 4 yards out to the 39.
Very impressed when you sit down with Russell Wilson. He's prepared. You know, he had, I mean, just some great lines for us. You know, everybody's going to knock him on his height. You're going to hear it all season long. You know, the guys are too tall in front of him. He can't see his throwing lanes. And he said that, you know, height doesn't define my skill set. And he'll go that extra mile. He's going to be impeccably prepared for every game this season because he knows that he has a lot of doubters out there to prove wrong.
Second down at 7. Lynch, first down and more. Marshawn Lynch is inside the 30, and he is chased down by the combination of Danny McCray and Gerald Sensabaugh. Lynch gains 36.
Running through those arm tackles like we talked about.
Well, you better have every gap covered when Marshawn Lynch is running the football. Now he's in the open field. Now he is getting into the beast mode right here. And you got to watch out for that stiff arm. Good hustle by Gerald Sensabaugh. But I think the addition of Robert Turbin is going to pay huge dividends for Marshawn Lynch this year because we saw him carrying the ball in the previous couple of plays. That's going to keep Marshawn fresh. He's going to be more physical late in the game and late in the season.
Here's Leon Washington in for Lynch, and as he was running, you start thinking about that 67-yard run in the playoff game against the Saints 2 seasons ago.
Very physical. I mean, really jump-started this team in that big upset win over the Saints in the playoffs.
One of the nice things on that replay was also ball protection. Went and moved the ball from left to right, away from the defender, knowing that he has a little bit more ball security, away from the defender. That's a big thing.
Second down at 7. Wilson, end zone, touchdown! Anthony McCoy.
Nice formation by Darrell Bevel here. You're going to see the 3 big tight ends all to one side. Evan Moore on the outside, Anthony McCoy in the middle, Zach Miller on the inside. It's an unusual formation. Somebody busted coverage, and you got Anthony McCoy running wide open down the seam.
Hauschka the extra point. First NFL touchdown for Anthony McCoy, who played for Pete Carroll at USC. Seahawks lead by 13. Russell Wilson hits Anthony McCoy. Just 2 plays after that 36-yard run by Marshawn Lynch. So the Seahawks drive 90 yards for the touchdown.
Impressive. And you know, it kind of goes back to what Tony said at the beginning of the game. You know, Marshawn Lynch has to carry the load. He's got to get this thing started. Let the offense feed off of his emotion and that physical style of running he has.
Felix Jones, after the hesitation, takes it out. Out across the 20.
Go back and take a look at the touchdown pass with the 3 tight ends set up. Here's Dan Connor, here's Anthony Spencer. Now I think one of these guys is going to turn Anthony McCoy loose right here. They've got Zach Miller covered. Sean Lee is underneath him. Evan Moore is covered to the outside by Brandon Carr. They put Mana Silva in a tough spot, and he stayed with Zach Miller, who really was covered well by Sean Lee. I felt like Mana should have slid over a little bit. He had to recognize that Dan Connor and Anthony Spencer had messed up their coverage, and Anthony McCoy was the biggest threat at that time.
Cowboys start from the 21. Romo over the top on first down. Out to Phillips for a gain of 7. Call ** NFL to download NFL Mobile now and get coverage of each and every NFL game. The Dallas Cowboys, who went into the Meadowlands and defeated the defending Super Bowl champion Giants a week ago Wednesday, find themselves trailing here in Seattle by 13 with 4.5 remaining in this third quarter as DeMarco Murray is forced back.
Alex Albright brought the wood on that. Cam Chancellor also on that play. These guys are running and tackling.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, Tony. We've seen some really good tackling today, some good physical hits. Gus Bradley should be proud of how his defense is playing right now.
They're running to the ball, they're wrapping up. They're making them earn every single yard that they're making.
Here's Murray leaning forward on 3rd down and 1. And he looks to have a Cowboy first down.
That's one of the little plays that's going to get lost in the course of this game, regardless of how it finishes up. I didn't think he had a chance to get the yards for the first down right there. I felt that Seattle's defense had done a great job controlling the line of scrimmage. I don't know how DeMarco Murray finds this little gap in here and just gets completely low down below everybody's pad level. That's a heck of a conversion on a 3rd and short when there wasn't a whole lot there.
You're absolutely right.
Cowboys now 7 for 11 on 3rd down today.
I think we're bumping the play clock back up, getting the chain set.
Chains on the near sideline of the Seahawks side had not been moved.
Even they couldn't believe DeMarco Murray got the first down.
So now we are set. New set of downs for the Cowboys. 2 tight ends set from the 31. This is Murray. Gain of 5 out to the 36-yard line. Cam Chancellor up to make the tackle. Home opener for the Seahawks following their 4-point loss to the Cardinals on the road last Sunday. Second down and 6. 3 wide receivers for Romo. Des Bryant makes the catch for a Cowboys first down out of the 47. Gain of 11 for Bryant.
Well, Seattle knows that they're going to run these comeback routes. They're going to play over the top. You can see Brandon Brown right there. There's the comeback. The challenge for Tony Romo is getting it over the shallow defender and in front of the corner behind Des Bryant.
Felix Jones in the backfield, 1st and 10 from the 47. Romo swings it out to Jones, and he will be wrapped up and brought down for a loss of 5 by K.J. Wright.
We talk about it every time about solidifying the tackle. K.J. Wright comes up. Watch him out here to the left of your screen. He goes, he reads a little dump pass. Watch how he wraps up, grabs cloth in the open field, and gets him down. Look at the other players running to the ball. Tell you what, this defense is relentless. They're doing the little things right this week, Dow.
2nd and 15. Smith, the left tackle, who was flagged 3 times last week for false starts, giving assist to the 12th man here in Seattle on this one.
Absolutely, and let us explain why. Now, you would think that, you know, the center wouldn't be a part of that equation, but when you come into an environment like this, everything is off silent count. So you're not going off the cadence of Tony Romo, you're actually going off the cadence of Ryan Cook. These guys were not used to that yet. They worked on it this week, but you're talking about just 7 to 8 practices with a new center and getting used to his rhythm on the silent count.
2nd down and 20. Following the penalty, and that pass is nearly picked off by Wright. He thought he had it.
That would have been a huge play for the Seattle Seahawks. He's got Miles Austin wide open down the seam. He doesn't see K.J. Wright. He has to make that catch and take it the other way.
There was nobody in front of him all the way to the end zone.
Romo on 3rd and 20. Steps up, and then he fires downfield about 10 yards too deep for Miles Austin.
Well, when they have had the play break down and they have had to ad-lib, they have not been in sync. Miles Austin is down the field. Tony Romo expected him to keep going deep, and he was going to break to the inside. This secondary for the Seahawks has played very well today against this group.
Again, angled towards the sidelines. Washington will let it go. Out of bounds at the 12. Frustrating series for Tony Romo and the Cowboys offense. Alex Albright, backup linebacker for the Cowboys, helped off the field, injured during the punt moments ago. Seahawks with a 13-point lead, just over a half-minute remaining, third quarter here in Seattle. Start from their own 12-yard line.
Nice balance by the Seahawks offense this afternoon.
Big play on the last drive, the 36-yard run by Marshawn Lynch, leading to the touchdown 2 plays later. And Lynch, one of the hardest backs in the league to bring down. Out to the 17-yard line for a gain of 5. As this third quarter winds down here in Seattle, the home opener for the Seahawks. Looking to win for the first time this season. But off to a quick start thanks to their special teams. And lead 20-7. Parks NFL Sunday will continue after these words from your local station. Seahawks led 10-0. Less than 5 minutes into this game thanks to special teams mistakes by the Cowboys. 13-7 at the half, now a 13-point Seattle lead. Second down and 5 from the 17-yard line. Play action. Wilson complete to McCoy. It's a first down for the Seahawks. McCoy was ruled down. Anthony McCoy scored the last touchdown of this game.
Well, this is a changeup. This was a high running formation last week against Arizona. You can see DeMarcus Ware there, number 94. He bit hard on that play fake, went down the line of scrimmage to chase down the run. And Russell Wilson was able to boot out behind him.
From the 24 on first down, it's Lynch. Lynch gains a couple, and we head to Los Angeles for a game break with Patrick O'Neill.
All right, let's head to Heinz Field and Pittsburgh. You see Ben Roethlisberger stepping up. This is a 3rd and long. It's a backbreaker for the Jets. Mike Wallace, great job keeping his feet in. That would be a touchdown. We have seen a Tim Tebow sighting at Heinz Field. We'll keep you posted. Back to Kenny Moose and Goose.
All right, thanks, Patrick. A look at Ben Roethlisberger's record at home as a starter, including a win in the AFC Championship game over Rex Ryan's Jets.
False start. Number 65 offense. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
That's the left tackle, Frank Omiel. You could not blame that on the 12th man.
No. Frank Omiel has done he's done a good job today. You know, we haven't had to focus on him in pass protection, so stepping in for Russell Okung, who had that sore knee during the course of the week and wasn't ready to go today. You know, hats off to Frank Omiel, hanging in on there on the outside against DeMarcus Ware and some good edge rushers for Dallas.
8-year vet, spent the last 3 years in Chicago. Second and 12. Wilson with time. Can't find anyone. Being chased. Takes off. Oh, what a block. And a late flag comes in after the block
defenseless players, I think. Now he's on his route. This is similar to like a special teams play. It's a peel back block. Now he cannot go helmet to helmet up around the head neck area with helmet, shoulder, and forearm. So he gets protection on an illegal blindside hit. You'll see that more often on like a change of possession, on an interception, when all of a sudden an offensive player becomes a cover guy. We've seen several opportunities today for guys to deliver big hits, and they've done a nice job of doing it within the confines of the rule, but that was not the case on that one by Golden Tate.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Defense number 54. 15-yard penalty will be enforced from the end of the run. Automatic first down.
They call it on Bruce Carter, a 15-yard penalty on Bruce Carter. I don't either, Tony.
Yeah,
and I was so focused on what was going on. You're going to give that. I mean, he's barely out of bounds, and you're going to give that the 15-yard penalty, and you've got. I mean, if we're talking about player safety here, and that was one of the concerns with the replacement officials, are we really going to call that over the blindside hit by Golden Tate going to the head with the crown of the helmet?
That is totally ridiculous. I'm with you 100%. There's no way that they should call that penalty with his hands on him, going outside on Bruce Carter.
So Carter is called for the penalty on that little shove. Dan Connor is in for Sean Lee. Over 49, this is Lynch. Being 7 down to the 42. Sean Lee on the sidelines. Jimmy Johnson chatted with Sean on our pregame show, as well as Rob Ryan, and Ryan referred to Lee as the best inside linebacker in football.
He's a playmaker. He's a huge playmaker. He's great in coverage. He's great against the run. He's become, one of the vocal leaders here on this Dallas defense, and that's a huge loss for him to be on the sideline right now at this stage of the game, down 13.
They're checking him for a concussion on the sideline, going through the whole program.
Here's Lynch on second down. Turns the corner and picks up the Seahawks first down. Another nice run by Lynch. Another game break with Patrick.
All right, Washington at St. Louis. What a quarterback battle we have going on here. Here's Robert Griffin III, his second rushing touchdown, third overall, answering Sam Bradford. It's a game 28-23 in the third. Back to Kenny Moose and Goose.
All right, thanks, Patrick. So the Redskins back on top, look to win their second consecutive game. Eagles are 2-0. The NFC East Giants 1-1, and the Cowboys trail here with the Seahawks on the move. Turbin up the middle to the Dallas 31. Bruce Carter made the tackle.
And the Seattle Seahawks offensive line really starting to take control of this game right now as well. The running game the last two series has been impressive. Rob Ryan's defense not being able to slow down this Seahawks running game. It's been a combination of Marshawn Lynch and Robert Turbin. Those guys up front really taking control of the line of scrimmage right now for the Seahawks.
They're taking control of that clock also. When you can run the ball, you can run the clock down and not give them enough time to come back.
Hey, scoop it.
Marshawn Lynch reaching 100 yards on the ground on that last carry. Wilson hits Turbin for a Seahawks first down. Inside the 20 to the 18. Finally brought down by Danny McCray. Gain of 13.
Good decision by Russell Wilson. He's going to go through the progression. You're going to have wide receivers to his left going deep down the field. Little play fake. I'm going to check them. There's some coverage. I'm going to check it down to Robert Turbin in the flat.
And that offensive line also for Seattle doing a great job of slowing down that pass rush. and giving Russell Wilson plenty of time to go and find them receivers.
Under 10 minutes remaining here in Seattle. Lynch down to the 16-yard line. Thirteenth career 100-yard game for Lynch. Gerald Sensabaugh, Cowboys free safety, shaken up. Cowboys lost Sean Lee earlier this drive. He has not returned. And now Sensabaugh helped off. Seahawks lead 20-7.
Sean Lee's back in the lineup, guys.
Here's Lee back on the field. Injured earlier this drive on the hard hit from Golden Tate. 10th play of the drive for the Seahawks. Second down and 9 from the Dallas 16.
Wide 90. Wide 90.
Wilson hands it off to Lynch. And Lynch takes it down to the 12. It's Lee in on the tackle. As we hit 9 minutes remaining, fourth quarter here in Seattle.
Well, we got a complete reversal here. Dallas controlled a lot of this in the first half. Seattle's come back. Now leads in time of possession here with how productive they've been in the second half offensively. And a lot of that has to do with the offensive line in this running game.
Seahawks went 8 plays on their last possession. This will be the 11th play of this drive. We're down at 5 off the fake to Lynch. Wilson being chased by Spencer. He throws and the catch is made for a first down by Golden Tate.
Now watch Anthony Spencer. He's right here. He's going to be matched up with Marshawn Lynch. Now keep Russell Wilson on your upfield shoulder. Don't go back into the inside of that pocket. You allow him to skate to the outside, right-handed quarterback. All the advantage goes to Russell Wilson.
First and goal from the 3 as Marshawn Lynch walks it in for a Seahawks touchdown.
We got Marcus Spears down now, too. This Dallas defensive line is getting really, really thin. Number 1, Jay Ratliff, their Pro Bowl nose tackle, inactive today. We've had Kenyon Coleman go down. Now we've got Marcus Spears down. They're getting really, really thin in that D-line. This Seattle Seahawks offensive line just wearing Rob Ryan's group down. Watch number 96, see if you can find him in that pile.
Big second. His first score of the season as the Seahawks here in the second half with scoring drives of 90 and 88 yards.
Well, it's one of the things that Darrell Bevel told us, the offensive coordinator for the Seahawks, is, you know, I can't forget about Marshawn Lynch, you know, and he had a lot of carries last week. He was over 20, you know, but still, you know, he's your emotional leader, and you've seen this second half when he's running the way he runs, what it does for this offense of the Seahawks.
Yeah, and it wears down the defense.
Darryl, you talked about the injuries to the Cowboys defense. Sean Lee earlier in that series, he returned. We saw Gerald Sensabaugh go out with a right calf injury. Now Marcus Spears. Hauschka connects on the point after. So with just under 8 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter here in Seattle. Lynch into the end zone. Seahawks lead by 20.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Sprint, by Pizza Hut, make it great, and by Bud Light, the official beer of NFL fans. Here we go.
Some nice catches, Darryl, not only on the field.
Yeah, but he's wearing gloves, so that's not fair. He's got, that helps him. This guy's going barehanded with a slick fish.
Maybe some stickum.
A lot of sticking for that fish.
Anybody gets some salmon up here and all of a sudden your gums start sticking together, we'll know that that guy was cheating.
It was that fish.
What an effort by the Seahawks in their home opener, leading the Cowboys 27-7. Just under 8 minutes remaining in the fourth. Felix Jones. Jones stopped just shy of the 20-yard line by Michael Robinson. Smiles all around on the Seahawks sideline. Big effort by the Seahawks today. A big shout out to the men and women watching this game on AFN, the American Forces Network. Cowboys start from their 19-yard line. Romo on first down. It is bobbled and dropped by Jason Witten.
I can't remember another game in his career where he has struggled catching the football like he has this afternoon.
In the first half, he was targeted 8 times, caught only 3. Unable to come up with that one. He has 4 receptions in the game. Only 1 in the second half. Second and 10. Romo steps up, wrapped up, down he goes. Bruce Irvin along with Jason Jones.
Well, you know who the pass rusher is in this front, but they've snuck Jason Jones into the inside and they're putting him away. He's number 90. He's going to be on your left side, so you're going to move out to that pass rush to your left. You lose sight of number 90, but he's a great inside pass rusher. Now they've got Bruce Irvin and his counterpart Chris Clemens on the field at the same time.
3rd down and 14. Romo fires downfield too far for Miles Austin. So following a 12-play, 88-yard Seattle Seahawks drive, Romo and the Cowboys go 3 and out.
And we talked about Seattle's offensive line taking control of the line of scrimmage in that battle. And this Seattle defensive line, in this situation with a 20-point lead, it is going to be tough work for the Dallas Cowboys offensive line.
Only 3 first downs for the Cowboys in the second half. Fair catch is called for by Leon Washington. Just over 7 minutes remaining. Big game for the Seahawks.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by the new 2013 Ford F-150 with EcoBoost.
Seahawks take over with 7:04 remaining. Both starting safeties for the Cowboys on the sidelines. Gerald Sensabaugh and Barry Church. Kenyon Coleman is out. Sean Lee is on the field. As Russell Wilson and the Seahawks will work from their own 34-yard line. Marshawn Lynch. So, Darryl, when you think back to the first 3.5 quarters, obviously the great start on special teams, what has surprised you the most about the Seahawks?
The way that Seattle has taken over control of the line of scrimmage offensively here in the second half. Their last 2 drives, 20 plays, 178 yards. That's dominating the line of scrimmage. We talked about the corners and what they did against the Giants, but right now it's that offensive line and the running game, nothing to do with the passing game, the running game that has changed the flow of this game.
Last 2 drives, 90 and 88 yards, led by the rookie quarterback, Russell Wilson, as the Cowboys use a timeout.
You know, Darryl, I think you're absolutely right. That offensive line is extremely impressive. They play like a bunch of nasty guys out there. We questioned their communication from last week. These guys came out, they were on a mission. They're driving guys off the ball. They're running to that second level, getting those linebackers, getting in the secondary. They're around the ball all the time. I'll tell you what, the team in general, special teams, offense and defense, these guys, you want to talk about hustle, I haven't seen one guy slacking off here today. Everybody is just moving. I'm going to tell you what, Pete has done an unbelievable job of going and preparing these guys and knowing what it takes to win big games. And this is a big game for Seattle.
Well, Dallas has never got them out of their comfort zone. Special teams gave them that 10-point cushion. Now they're allowed to play their style of football. And last week against Arizona, it was a different thing. You know, Arizona had Seattle completely uncomfortable and out of their comfort zone. Dallas has not been able to do that during the course of the game.
Second down and 9. Lynch. Lynch out to the 37-yard line as we head to Los Angeles and Patrick O'Neill. Patrick?
A barn burner in St. Louis between the Redskins and the Rams. Punt block. That is Matthew Mulligan. Remember that name, Matthew Mulligan, recovered by Eugene Sims, because what does Jeff Fisher and the Rams do? They throw to Matthew Mulligan for the touchdown. They go for 2, they get it, and St. Louis is now up 31-28.
Another block punt, Darrell.
Oh, special teams huge the first 2 weeks of the season here. A huge part in this game, a huge part in our game last week, Washington, New Orleans.
And again today as Redskins suffer some deja vu on the block punt. Cowboys have used their second timeout with 6:46 remaining. Trailing the Seahawks 27-7. There's Darrell Bevell, offensive coordinator with Russell Wilson.
Very impressed with Russell Wilson here in the second half. His decision making has been very, very efficient. He's made the throws when he's had to make them. Last week he missed a couple of opportunities against Arizona, and it goes back to what we talked about at the beginning of the game. You know, the areas that Seattle had to improve on. Number one, you know, get a hold of these penalties. That's within your control. They've done a good job with that today, just 5 after having 13 last week. Offensive line communication, you've heard Tony talk about it, being able to see that blocking along the offensive line from his perspective at field level, and somebody make a play. You know, if you got to block a guy, block a guy. If you got to make that throw, make that throw. And when he does make that throw, go it and get it and catch it, and let's keep moving on. And they've really done all the things that Pete Carroll has asked them to do, and he's preached all week long.
And the other thing, they have not turned the ball over.
How about the biggest surprise on Dallas, Darrell? I'll tell you what, for me, it's the drop passes.
Yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
I mean, early, Witten wide open down here in the end zone that I'm at. You know, that was a touchdown right there. They settled for 3 in that situation. Just, I have never seen, you know, Jason Witten, you know, drop as many passes as he has today.
And Tony Romo has not been in sync with his guys, with Miles Austin, with Jason Witten, guys that have played together for a number of years and are very comfortable. They have been out of sync in the passing game the majority of the afternoon.
3rd down and 6. Wilson wrapped up. Down he goes. It's Anthony Spencer. There is a flag.
Anthony Spencer came running in from the sideline. So
tough to block him. I'll tell you what, it was a good idea.
Well,
he tried to sneak him in.
Well, if you're a running back and someone's going to yell at you, you didn't check your protection. Well, he came from the sideline.
He wasn't even around.
Have to get inside the numbers prior to the snap.
Personal foul, face mask, defense, number 93. 15-yard penalty will be enforced on the end of the run. Automatic first down.
I think, you know, the other part of the face mask is here he comes right here. He doesn't really get inside the numbers.
Yeah, there's the face mask there as soon as he hits him.
Well, they got him for something.
Well, Tony, you've got a new thing to talk to Coach Ryan about when you tell people bring people from anywhere. They even bring them from the sidelines.
Yeah, this is, you know.
You ever try to sneak on the field, Goose?
Oh, all the time. Are you kidding me? It's hard for a guy my size, though, to sneak around there, Kenny. Rob Ryan will try anything.
Sunday. Yep. Wide 90.
From the 42, following the face mask. Wilson able to get rid of it as he was wrapped up. And this is the tight end, McCoy, out to the 47-yard line.
A great play by Russell Wilson right there, being able to get that ball out. We got to go back and clean up that previous play. Defensively, you can substitute like that. It's offensively, you got to be inside the numbers. So we were mistaken on that one. And now let's get to this play. With players all around him, Russell Wilson able to make this throw to Anthony McCoy.
I don't understand why Seattle isn't running the ball and trying to run this clock down.
Well, as long as they're not going out of bounds, Tony, go ahead and throw it. You know, nice safe throws, bootleg screens, just like a short handoff.
Those incomplete passes, though, stop the clock.
A tale of two halves. You can see right there how Dallas controlled the play, had the big mistakes and miscues in that first half, but Seattle has come out and taken control here in the second half.
Something must have been said at halftime there, huh?
Cowboys now out of timeouts as Wilson hands it off to Lynch, takes it into Dallas territory as we approach 6 minutes remaining. Marshawn Lynch now 117 yards on the ground, scored the last Seahawks touchdown. Seattle capitalizing on special teams early, and then Lynch took over here in the second half.
That is vintage Marshawn Lynch, you know, to be able to get into the second half and be that productive, almost up around 7 yards a carry.
Seahawks able to move the chains.
We were in practice on Friday, and I watched the offensive line of the Seattle Seahawks go down the field in about 5-yard increments with Coach Cable, their offensive line coach there, and he was calling out protections and fronts and being very specific with movements, where the players were going to, and making sure that everybody was assignment true. It was a cool experience to watch, to see them all go, and they were having some fun and some communication. But Tom Cable, his group from last week to this week is night and day. I mean, just absolutely, completely different than how they played against the Cardinals last week.
Former head coach in Oakland. Here's Lynch. Lynch to the 43. Now, Darryl, from a Cowboys standpoint, schedule comes out in April. They see their opening against the Giants, the defending Super Bowl champs, on a Wednesday night. Go up to the Meadowlands, win the game. Then they have 10 days before the next game. Too much time to look at the headlines and read the papers from that opening game victory over the champs?
No, they're just getting beat today. And I don't think it has anything to do with headlines or reading anything. Jason Garrett has his guys prepared. I mean, he is very meticulous. It's the next play, it's the next series, it's the next half, it's the next game. He doesn't allow his guys to look forward or look backwards. Just stay on course, stay with your next upcoming opponent. They have come out here and have not played well. They got off to a terrible start, and again, I think the biggest thing that happened today is they never forced Seattle out of their comfort zone. That 10-point lead allowed them to stay within the confines of what they're doing offensively, allowed Russell Wilson to kind of get into a rhythm. Now Marshawn Lynch takes over the game in the second half, so I don't think it has anything to do with reading headlines, being overconfident, looking past somebody. Pete Carroll and his team prepared this week and came out and executed their plan better.
And the next opponent for the Cowboys will be the Tampa Bay Bucks in the Cowboys home opener next week. Seahawks will play a Monday night game against Green Bay. 3rd down and 5 as Wilson tried to lay it out for Leon Washington. Seahawks will punt it away with 3:16 on the clock.
Victor Butler, numbers 57, coming from the three-point stance. Good recognition. See that the quarterback's trying to dump the ball off. You're not going to get there. Elevate and get a piece of that.
John Ryan will punt it away. Seahawks scored touchdowns on their last 2 possessions, and this play is blown dead.
12 players in formation. Receiving team, 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
I wonder if this is going to change Pete Carroll's mind. Now you got a 4th and short from about a 4th and 6.
And Pete Carroll will send his offense back out onto the field.
Why not? They've played well all through this second half. Dallas is having trouble getting their defense on the field and lined up.
Wilson on the sneak. Good push, and the Seahawks pick up a 1st down. Clock continues to run. Cowboys with no timeouts remaining. As Pete Carroll's Seahawks in their home opener after the loss in Arizona last week. Russell Wilson's 2nd start as an NFL quarterback. Look around the NFC West. Arizona Cardinals winning again today in New England. Arizona 2-0. San Francisco won last week. They will face the Lions tonight. Rams leading the Redskins in the 4th quarter. And the Seahawks on the verge of winning their 1st game.
The NFC West sending some messages. You know, we looked at the Arizona-Seattle game last week and trying to figure out the personality of these two teams. Well, Arizona goes up to New England, knocks off the Patriots. We had St. Louis last week almost get the Detroit Lions. So you look at what this NFC West has done the first 2 weeks. This is not the division from last year by any stretch.
We have hit the 2-minute warning here in Seattle. Dallas Cowboys travel to Seattle, fumble the opening kickoff, then have a punt blocked. Less than 5 minutes into the game, return for a touchdown. Seahawks led 10-0 early. It is now 27-7 Seattle with 2 minutes remaining. On the 34-yard line, it is Turbin. Well, the new AP rankings are out this Saturday. College football returns to Fox. Aaron Andrews, Eddie George, and Joey Harrington get you started with the pregame show. Then 2 unbeatens. Number 6, Oklahoma. Number 15, Kansas State. Fox College football, Saturday, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. And then week 3 of the NFL on Fox next Sunday. Third down and 8 on Washington. Washington down to the 30. Our game summary, as we just mentioned, the 10 early points off special teams miscues, 2 long drives by the Seahawks here in the second half. And Darryl, as you talked about, the tale of 2 halves as far as the yardage is concerned.
Yeah, completely different. Completely different. You know, Dallas was making mistakes, but they were controlling the flow of the game, and Seattle just, they took over the line of scrimmage here in the second half, as evidenced by those 2 88-yard drives.
On 4th down, not enough. On Washington, so the Cowboys will take over on downs, but too little too late as Pete Carroll will celebrate on this day after his 61st birthday. Still 36 seconds on the clock as the Cowboys offense trots back out. First win as an NFL starting quarterback for Russell Wilson. He's been dreaming about it for a long time. Romo with the flip to Felix Jones. Cowboys start the season with 2 games on the road. They split against the Giants and Seahawks. Will now head home for 2 against the Buccaneers and the Bears. Seahawks. They're home next week for Green Bay, and then they will play 2 on the road. As the catch is made by Miles Austin with 5 seconds remaining.
And they were excited about that upcoming schedule. The Seattle Seahawks defenders, they wanted to see how good they were going to be. You know, they've got Green Bay coming up, but you look at this group, you got Carolina, you know, one of the more explosive offenses in the most explosive offense in the NFL last year behind Cam Newton. The Patriots, San Francisco, your division rival, and then the Detroit Lions with everything that Matthew Stafford did last season. So they've got some big offenses coming their way, and this defense is excited for the challenge. And if they continue to play like they did today, they're going to put some pressure on those offenses.
An impressive effort by the Seattle Seahawks in Week 2 as they defeat the Dallas Cowboys by the score of 27-7. The 2 quarterbacks, Romo and Wilson. We will return to Seattle after these messages.